This is why Guinevere is meta right now. First off, Guinevere is strong against current popular heroes, such as Harley and Suyu. Even though these heroes are naturally hard to catch because they are very slippery, but once you master the element of surprise, taking them down is easy. Most of the time, Harley is the one hunting you and your teammates, but when you're using Guinevere, the story changes. This time, you're the one hunting him again and again. You can easily punish assassins and consistently shut them down. You see, assassins may have strong mobility, but the problem is that most of them are played as junglers using retribution, which means they don't have Purify to escape from Guinevere. Although there are assassins like Benedetta who have built-in CC immunity, but if you time it correctly, Guinevere can still catch them pretty much easily. And it doesn't stop there, because even meta EXP heroes like Sora can also be outplayed. And of course, she can also effectively punish mid-lane heroes, especially when they overextend or misposition. Guinevere can quickly close the gap before they even have a chance to react. And more importantly, she can easily reach the enemy gold laners, who are often one of the most important targets in the game. Just like Mincither, she can break through and bypass the enemy front lines, allowing her to directly jump the back line. Instead of wasting time on tanks and enemy EXP, Guinevere can find angles to dive in, disrupt positioning, and force the enemy core players into uncomfortable situations where they have limited options to respond. And the second reason Guinevere is becoming meta is because heroes like Khalid and Hilda are starting to show up again. The good thing is, Guinevere has enough mobility to kite them, reposition when needed, and safely get out, which makes it harder for those kinds of lineups to deal with her. On top of that, she also has some sustain, allowing her to absorb and recover from the poke damage coming from heroes like Khalid and Hilda. And the third reason is that Guinevere's kit is built around knockup, and her ultimate is one of the longest channeling abilities in the game. This gives her a strong window to keep enemies locked in place, deal consistent damage, and control in team fights. And the best part is, she becomes crowd control immune while she is using her ultimate. This makes her flexible in the jungle because she can use retribution without interruption, unless the enemy has suppression skills, like Franco, Kacha, or Barrax. Now let's play her in rank to check if she's actually meta. And in this game, we're up against Sora. Take note, Guinevere is not an absolute counter to Sora, but she does have a slight advantage, especially if you understand and execute both macro and micro very well in the game. Unfortunately, as you can see, we're currently experiencing an FPS drop, and we also tried turning on our data to cope with the unstable internet connection. I was actually trying to show you how to win the early laning phase against Sora, but I can't demonstrate it right now because our connection is unstable. So the best move in this situation is to play safe and stay near the tower. Just take advantage of your skill 1 range to last hit minions. Then we decided to restart the game to see if it would fix the FPS drop. For those asking, I'm using the Infinix GT20 Pro. And yes, it's normal that FPS drops can happen since I've been using this phone for over a year now. Like any device, performance can slowly degrade over time, but overall it still performs well. And I can still record my gameplays, although I have to deal with the green and dark lines, but I can still manage and I've gotten used to it. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone, because I've been reading the comments and many of you have shown concern and even offered to help me get a new phone. I was really touched, and I truly appreciate it. But it's okay, you don't have to worry or do that. Your support already means a lot to me. I've always learned to be content with what I have, so trust me, I'm fine with this device. Now our team manages to secure the turtle, plus we pick off 3 enemies, giving us a strong early lead. So we take the opportunity to shred some gold plates, and we pick Genius Wand first to focus on a high burst damage since we are playing solo rank. And yes, our connection is still unstable during this time since we're playing around 10 PM, so let's just play it safe, because I'm just connecting from my neighbor's Wi-Fi, and it usually gets unstable between 6 PM to 12 PM. The connection is much better around 2 AM to 5 AM, but I get too sleepy during that time, so I still choose to play in the evening even if it lags. You see, I'm the type of person who feels shy to speak up or ask for favors. I was thinking of asking my landlady if I can install my own Wi-Fi in my room, but I'm too introverted to bring it up. Now I'm able to connect through a neighbor's Wi-Fi because of these dogs. We also have dogs at home, so it feels comforting seeing dogs near my boarding house. And after a tiring day at work, nothing feels better than coming back and being greeted by them. So here they are, by the way, always waiting for me and greeting me every time I arrive, even when it's already late at night. Yes, bad days don't feel so heavy anymore because I know that when I get home, I'll be greeted by these little angels. So after work, I always make sure to stop by and buy some street-style fried chicken as a treat for them. Just look at how cute they are, patiently waiting while I separate the bones from the meat of the chicken. And yes, I'm afraid to socialize, but because of these dogs, I eventually got to talk to their owner, who happens to have Wi-Fi. She allowed me to connect and just pay a share monthly, which really helps since mobile data is also weak in my location. Although the connection isn't always stable, it's more than enough for me to play and create content. Sometimes, you don't need a fast internet connection to connect and inspire people, especially the younger ones. And these dogs aren't even mine, but the fact that they waited all day just to see me feels different. Seeing how happy they are when I arrive really hits me. Now let's get back into the game, because the key to using Guinevere effectively is the ability to find the right target. And if we look at the minimap, their gold laner, jungler, tank, and EXP laner are all visible on the map. However, your priority targets should be carry and YSS. But be careful, because both of them have Purify. So you need to watch them closely and check if they've already used their CC immune skills or battle spells. And since YSS has already used his skill 1, make sure to lock onto him and land your combo as soon as possible while this skill is on cooldown. But remember, target priority is highly situational. There are times when you need to go for the front line first, their tank and EXP, so their whole team collapses and their main damage dealer in the back lines becomes easier to take down. Because most tank heroes are easier to punish since they rarely take Purify. So as Guinevere, tanks and EXP laners can be good targets, especially if the enemy gold laner or mage is using Purify. So don't hesitate to punish these heroes, even if they're very tanky, especially when you have nearby teammates ready to help you burst them down. And another thing about Guinevere is that even if you miss your second skill, you still have a chance to use your ultimate combo as long as you complete your passive stacks. Now our team effortlessly secured the Lord objective without much contest. And watch closely as Tigreal looks to make a play. It's obvious that his teammates are likely waiting in the bush, so you need to act first before Tigreal can do a perfect set. Not gonna lie, Guinevere is a very strong and scary hero, especially when you play her in the EXP lane where you can use Flicker. It gives her more reach and lets her catch enemies off guard from a distance, very similar to how Mincither can be played. On top of that, you can also build Winter Crown, which adds another layer of safety and outplay potential. And once you successfully catch catch someone, especially if it's a squishy target. Their tank won't be able to help. And by the way, I'm sorry if I haven't been able to upload and give updates on the channel. Life's been a bit challenging lately, but yes, let's keep moving and let's keep going. And don't worry, I'll give you 3 gameplays in this video. I actually played these games about 3 to 4 weeks ago, but I only got the chance to edit them now. So without further ado, let's proceed to game 2. And once again, let's pick Guinevere and see if we can still have an easy game with her. Now this time we're up against Alice. And as you can see, the EXP lane is on the top side, but for some reason I wasn't paying close attention, so I ended up going for the gold lane instead. Hanabi even tried to stop me, but yes, there are just times when I'm playing but my mind isn't in the game. And we have to commend Hanabi for being so professional. As you can see, she didn't complain, she just adjusted and rotated to the top lane. That was really an early mistake on my part, but don't worry, we'll be swapping lanes in the next waves. For now, the goal is to farm safely and avoid dueling Beatrix as much as possible since our connection is still a bit unstable at this time, so we don't want to force any aggressive plays, because that would be too risky, and it would make it very hard to win this game if we end up giving free kills to their gold laner. However, our Hanabi is playing a bit too aggressively in the top lane, and Alice's early game damage shouldn't be underestimated, especially if you're a squishy marksman. So yes, unfortunately, our gold laner gets taken down. Meanwhile, here we are trying to prevent Beatrix from getting an early snowball. We don't want to let her farm freely so Hanabi can at least catch up in gold with her. But if only my connection was stable, I could have dueled and poked Beatrix. That way, I have control over the minions and can even freeze and deny it from her. You see, my salary isn't that big though. But if I were selfish and chose not to support my parents, I could have afforded to rent a studio-type apartment with fast internet. I could have bought a new phone, and I could have gone live streaming, which is something I've always wanted to do. But looking back, I graduated and finished my studies because of my parents' sacrifices. And yes, it's a parent's responsibility to support their children, and children don't owe everything back. But I see it differently because I witnessed firsthand what they went through just to send me to college, and I still remember those times when my classmates were already answering their exams. Meanwhile, I was with my father at the cashier, writing a promissory note just so I could be allowed to take the test. That kind of moment stays with you. It's not something you easily forget, and I can't fully put into words how much they sacrificed just so I could finish my studies and get that diploma. They carried a lot of debt and did whatever it took just to make sure I had a future. And now that I finally have a job, it wouldn't feel right to turn away or leave them struggling on their own, because at the end of the day, everything they did wasn't for themselves. It was for me to have a chance and a better future. Besides, they never even asked me to give anything back, but I can see that they're still struggling. So this time, it's my turn to sacrifice for them. And anyway, it's not like I have nothing, because I can still play using my phone, and I have a boarding house with lovely dogs and cats around me. Even if my connection isn't always stable, I can still manage to play. I can even go live between 2 AM to 5 AM when the connection is better, but I choose not to because I have a roommate, and I don't want to disturb my roommate. But don't worry, I believe that in God's perfect time, we'll be able to start streaming soon. So for now, all we can do is stay grateful and be content with what we have. Because as they say, there's no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs, one step at a time. And yes, we were able to win the second game as well. Then for the third game, we ended up getting the jungle role, and since Guinevere wasn't available, we went with Hanzo instead because he's still one of the strongest jungle heroes. And just like Mincether, he's capable of taking down even tanky enemies. Plus, this hero is still playable even if you have unstable internet connection. So yes, once again, we were able to secure the win in game number 3. And for our final game, this time we're up against Cho. And as you can see, they played very aggressively here and went for an invade, which is actually a solid move by the enemy team. Thankfully, our Sylvana jungle managed to secure her red buff and escape safely. But the enemies still continued to commit and tried to punish her, which was a big mistake because by that time, we were already able to rotate and provide backup. And by the way, we were a bit late here because Cho managed to cut the waves earlier, and we weren't able to stop him from doing the cut since we have to play safe. But if played it the right way, you can actually duel Cho and land decent poke damage on him. However, I chose to play with discipline here because the unstable connection is always the main threat, and Cho can already deal massive damage even at level 1. But I also felt like the connection was starting to get better, so I tried to take a few pokes at him at this point. But we made sure not to overextend too much, because as much as possible, our main goal here is to reach level 4 so we can have a strong impact during the first turtle. And EXP laners play a very important role in taking objectives, so make sure you are faster than the enemy EXP laner, so you can be the first to help your team and increase your chances of taking the turtle. And if you observe closely, their Cho is late to arrive, and that small delay caused their team to lose control over the turtle. If we look at the replay, their Grok, Mage, and Benedetta were already in position. So technically, it was a 2v4 situation since our Johnson was still in the top lane, and Zetian was also far away and still level 3. But you already saw what happened. We still managed to turn the situation around, just simply because we reached level 4 faster compared to their EXP laner, and that play wouldn't have been possible without Flicker. That's why, as much as possible, you should avoid using your battle spell before the first turtle respawns, because if you do, then you will lose a key tool for a good engage, and you can prevent wasting your Flicker by playing safe in the laning phase and focusing mainly on reaching level 4. Also, make sure to take advantage of your gold lead, so play aggressively and try to deny the enemy's buffs whenever possible, and if they try to contest it, then be ready to punish them immediately. And when playing Guinevere, you need to land your skill 2 as accurately as possible. However, if you miss it, then just focus on carefully stacking your passive. That's what I also like about Guinevere, because there's always a chance to correct your mistake and still land your ultimate combo. And just like Mincether, what really makes Guinevere effective is the element of surprise. This hero is not about rushing in blindly, but about waiting for the right moment and reading the situation carefully. Again, remember, timing is everything. You should avoid showing yourself too early on the map. Instead, look for opportunities where the enemy is distracted, overextended, or already using their escape skills. Then it's very important that you plan your rotation and position before the fight even starts. Usually, the big fights happen around the turtle or Lord Pit, so as much as possible, you need to position yourself in the bushes near the objective. And we have to commend Grok and Cho for being very active. They kept zoning our jungler out, making it hard for her to get close to the objective. Sylvanna can't do much against them because her CC immunity from second skill only works on minor crowd control, and Cho and Grok both have knockups. So this game is definitely hard for our jungler. And not only that, because they also have Vale, who has a knockup skill as well. So if we can take these heroes out, then no one can stop and disrupt our Sylvanna. Now this turns into an extended team fight, and Guinevere is actually good in this kind of setup because her skill cooldowns can be reduced if she can land her skills on any target, whether heroes or creeps. And if you go for a cooldown build, Guinevere's skills become almost spammable. And I hope that through this video, you were able to learn something deeper than just Mobile Legends. I shared part of my personal story because I want to inspire, especially the younger ones. So I hope you do well in your studies, and don't let worry take over your heart. Always trust in God because I finished my education not because everything was easy, but because I held on to faith that I would be provided for by Him each passing day. And as you move forward in life, never forget your parents. Honor them, love them, and appreciate their sacrifices while you still can. The fourth commandment reminds us, honor your father and mother. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones who stood by you when you couldn't stand on your own. They gave you life and made countless sacrifices just to give you a better future. Once again, this is Checkmate. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you won't miss our next guide. Have a blessed Sunday.